How's it going, guys? This is Bohm. I'm just going to be doing a quick Season 10 VBL-S review. Definitely wasn't a great season for me, but I think sitting down and kind of reviewing some things, what went wrong, what went right, a lot of wrong, would be beneficial to help prep into next season and kind of give a little bit of backstory to this team and what I was thinking going into it and how the season went. As you guys know, rebranded to Lake Erie Monsters this season. Definitely cooler team name. Just want to try to get things really rolling with that name. But hopefully next season, season 11, we can make a bigger impact than this year. Draft strategy slash tools I wanted. This is just a snippet from one of the draft boards I put together. I wanted to be fast team. I wanted to focus on enabling Sneasler for whatever reason. Going into everything pre when some of those home mons released, Sneasler just seemed very strong. It was not, unfortunately. At least it didn't feel as strong as I thought it would be. Um, it really requires a lot of mons to get it going. In draft format, I think it's too easy to kind of prep around, but we'll get more into that. Definitely wanted to have a wide team with many options, just straight across the board. I was trying to avoid bag mons if possible, which doesn't necessarily. It's not necessarily a good strategy. Bringing more usable mons may have been more beneficial for me, and instead of just looking for that value and just picking, so I'm not picking at the bottom. And of course, overall, wanted to try something new. This doesn't exactly go in line with what I view my draft strategies usually are. I tend to like more bulky mons. Like last season, I had Garg, Screamtail, just some things that take a hit. Except last season was a little more to the extreme. So what I got from the draft: Sneasler first round was not the plan. I would have liked to get Grim, Heatran, Rillaboom. They're all taken right before I was able to pick. So I kind of just jumped right into it. I'm like, well, this is the mon. I'm thinking like, okay, this is what I want to build around. So let's just jump in and throw Sneasler in there. Don't believe it was a good first pick. Is pretty much relative to that Tinkaton pick I picked 2 seasons ago, and it just doesn't do enough. I mean, as we'll get to see a little bit more. So again, went for that wide team. The initial team had a pretty good type chart. I don't think I had any net weaknesses or anything like that. Couple neutral weaknesses here and there, but overall, I thought it was a pretty solid team. The only issues were Crest as one of my top picks. It was sitting on the board. Didn't expect it to be there. And I mean, as you guys know, I made some transactions early to move some things around. Zoroark was not in my plans. I did not think this mon would be there, and I believe the third round is where I picked it, somewhere like that. Um, Very happy to have gotten that. Definitely changed some things around, but again, it most of this team didn't really have cohesiveness. And right after we did the power rankings, and I'm not saying my team was dragged because it had every right to be kind of knocked on a little bit, not respected, and needed to make some moves. So after power rankings came out, I definitely jumped in. I wanted to change some things up a little bit. I did consult a few of the olds. We had a couple discussions regarding swapping Crest out for Hydreigon, or Baxcalibur was another option at that time. And we also cycled Bronze and Fortress on the team, getting rid of Revrim and Espeon, who didn't feel as strong as those two mons down there too. Um, Needed more damage for the team for sure. I felt we were really passive at this point. And like I said earlier, swapped out Revrim, Espeon, and Crest for Hydreigon, Bronzong, and Fortress, which overall I felt like were good moves. Each one did play a part in the season. Hydreigon, as you guys probably can see, was a 19 kill mon. Possibly 20. I may have miscounted, but I did say something earlier today about possibly doing a recount for it just to mess with Rich so he doesn't get the lone top kill spot with his Hisuian Arcanine. So strengths on paper, I definitely saw a good type chart. I really only had three major weaknesses I had to look out for. Fairy being one, which is a pretty major one. But I had some mons that could kind of back it up a little bit and kind of protect me from Fairy with Sneasler, Bronzong, and Fortress all kind of down there, able to protect some of those mons. Flying type, again, I wasn't super concerned about this. Everybody's got a pretty good move pool that I can kind of work around the flying type a little bit. Ice, again, I felt like I had a pretty good answer for the ice types with Sneasler, Tauros, and even Cole. I mean, Cole didn't really come, but it's down there a little bit. Um, Felt like I had a strong fast mode, not too strong of a slow mode. I definitely had some mons I could kind of run in it, but they weren't really mons that people are afraid of in prep. I don't think. Good disruption, fake out, taunt, prankster. I had a scary face came a couple weeks. Thunderwave came a couple weeks. Had snarl, intimidate. Just a lot of things, a lot of tools that could be used. I don't believe I used them as well as I could, but there are definitely options on this team. And of course, I had plenty of things to help enable Sneasler with Thwacky and Morgrim being the primary two. Didn't get to try anything out with Ice Shard, Donphan, and Snowball on Sneasler, but that's all right. Week 1. So just jumping straight into this. Bad choices, and we're going to see a lot of bad choices throughout this season here. Too much prep on Rillaboom. I really respect Rillaboom as a mon, and I did not respect Garg enough, which is crazy considering he was my best mon last season. So it would have been nice to be a little more aware of that at that time, but for whatever reason, I just kind of ignored him in prep. No good Trick Room answer. I didn't really prep well for that. I didn't think, again, I didn't respect Garg too much, and in an extent, I didn't respect Slowking being a good Trick Room setter here. What I did like from this week for my team is Terrifier, Tauros, Aqua, which didn't really come in big, but it kept him alive for a second there or two there, and I think game 2. And then I had Cloak, Hydreigon, and Zoroark, Hisui, Illusion, which I thought, I mean, it was kind of a nice little test to feel like what each of these mons could do, and it's definitely one. I think I may have drawn a fake out into Zoroark and Hydreigon really in I think games 1 and 2 there. So I mean, there were some things. Again, the things I like aren't really going to necessarily be great, especially with O2 loss. There's not too much that I can really focus on liking, especially when it's an early season matchup. Week 2 versus Sam, always a good game versus Sam. Bad choices. Game 1 copied Swords Dance with a Mirror Herb on Sneasler, and then proceeded next turn to use Swagger. Don't know why I did that. It didn't make any sense. It wasted a move. I did end up winning game 1, but it wasted a move I could have used doing anything else. Definitely undervalued Pop Bomb on Mouse. I think a lot of when Rich and I were prepping for this one, Pop Bomb missed a lot, and I think it lulled me into a bit of a false sense of security there, and I was really not counting Mouse being that big here. And of course, Eel. I mean, right there at the end of game, I think it was game 3, Eel and Hydreigon, both Terra Poison, Acid Spray, and then Thunderbolt just destroyed me. What I liked, prepped well for Terra Fairy Draining Kiss. Sam mentioned it in one of our videos before the season started, so I made sure to take note of that to have that ready because of the pretty large fairy weakness I have on my team compared to other weaknesses. Morgrim Sneasler felt strong here. Definitely felt like I could get a Swagger and a attack boost pretty easy as long as Swagger hit. And Hydreigon started to feel pretty good here in the back to clean up. So that became more of like the template for the season where Hydreigon felt like it was the cleanup mon in the back. Week 3 versus Sora. Lone win on the season. Not an easy win by any means. Definitely scrappy. Good choices, which is the only week you're going to see good choices here. Frisk Morgrim to kind of scout items out. Really wanted to be able to see if Uxie had White Herb, or if it had Covert Cloak, so I can kind of plan out how I'm going to slow Trick Room down. So Misty Terrain was primarily to stop Ursaluna from getting up its burn. So that was really great, especially in Game 1. Game 2, it didn't really matter too much. And once I pivoted to Game 3, I just gave up and let Ursaluna get the burn. Bronzong had great value here, especially the Terrifier. I definitely enjoyed its bulk and making sure that it matched up for Ursaluna well, just because, I mean, it can't get hit by ground-type moves with Levitate, resist Facade. So definitely overall a good mon to bring this week. Hydreigon had a great week. I think this is his 8-kill week. But I think a lot of what helped him was having Bronze next to him. It took some pressure off him a little bit there. Definitely could have done things better. I did rely a little bit on Dire Claw status, and which I'm realizing 50% never feels like 50%. I mean, honestly, I don't think I status with Dire Claw more than once or twice this season. And not that it came every week, but it's a little bit disappointing of a move when it should be more broken than what it looks like, or at least on paper it looks like it should be broken. Um, Definitely need to start respecting Arbo and draft a little bit more. I think I had the same issue versus Sam last season, and for whatever reason, I don't expect it to be as bulky as it is. It's a strong mon. It's good every time you play it. It's always going to live something that you don't think it should, and just making sure to do better calcs against that because I didn't respect that enough going in. Week 4, I don't really want to talk about. Those freezes killed. I don't think it changes the outcome of the entire set at all. I definitely think it helps me kind of get some momentum and maybe take game 1, but I don't think it really changes the outcome of the full set. So we'll keep moving on there. Week 5 versus Daddy, another 1-2 loss. So bad choices. Game 2, I did a lot of weird Trick Room plays. I set Trick Room, then I realized Gudra Hisui is slower, so I reversed Trick Room, and by that time it hadn't mattered what was going to happen. Gudra played a much larger role. The Terra Flying mix-up between Gudra and Overquill was huge. Definitely something I wasn't expecting because I kind of tried to play that game 3 where I went into Overquill with Earth Power, and it just Terra'd instead of Hisui and Gudra. Regret taking Iron Head and Flash Cannon off Bronze and Hydreigon. I think I tried to fit in something else on both of them, and I should have at least kept a steel type move on one or the other because would have really helped against Garchomp, kind of disrupting it and dealing some more damage. What I liked, Big Nugget got to come out this game. For those of you who don't know, Big Nugget is the only item you can fling that's 130 base power besides Iron Ball. And, I mean, Iron Ball is just bad if you're trying to get speed going. Scary Face Morgrim to stop Eruption I thought was great. I got it pictured on there. That was the lead I really prepped for because I really thought that Fire type was strong into my team. So trying to make sure to discourage that coming after Game 1 was a big part for me to try to play. Week 6, versus Canner. I don't really know how to explain what happened here. I mean, reliance on Swagger. It's 85% accurate. I mean, it's going to miss. And, I mean, right there, it's unfortunate that it missed Game 1. I killed Chi Yu doing that, but, again, I can't rely on an 85% accurate move every time I go to play. Definitely didn't do great enough prep. Sold out Game 2 for Tailwind. I believe it was a Flutter Mane and Noivern lead. And I calced it out that if I Terra Iced Donphan, I could take out Noivern in a hit. Well, he Terra Normaled and Boom Burst me. Boom Burst me. And it just ended that game quicker than it should have. But overall, there's nothing about this set that I liked. It was very uninspired prep. Worst set I played, I definitely came in thinking that these two leading would be plenty. I wouldn't have too many issues, and then I can kind of just roll with it into Game 2, and it just, I couldn't rely on it for Game 2, so I took a big backseat to that. And I think, if I recall right, this whole set was over in 5 turns, which is very disappointing overall. But, I mean, great for Canner prepping. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, of course. Week 7 versus Jay. Another 0-2 loss, so bad choices. Ignored Klefki. For some reason, forgot about Encore on Bundle and protected right in front of it. And that kind of completely ended Game 1. Not saying it would have changed much because I think he was in a more prime position to finish me off no matter what. Nothing too positive this week either. Wasn't Week 6. The Annihilate Terra Electric was a great read, especially considering I'd have Thunderwave. I think Jay's told me his main point was to kind of discourage any acrobatics and kind of keep Annihilate alive. So it performed twice in a dual roll there. So good luck to Jay in the playoffs. Definitely deserved to jump in that spot. But again, the last 2 weeks of the season, not very positive at all. And I don't think I prepped. I don't think I prepped as well as I was the first few weeks, and it's kind of I guess it gets kind of hard as the season goes on, and you're not putting up the results you'd like to put up. Recap: Sneasler, terrible first round pick. Seems easy enough to prep for and draft. It doesn't hold its own as a first round mon, and taking the time to pick something a little bit better would have been beneficial for me. Zora Kisui, I think it's a top tier draft mon, but needs the proper mons with it. Hydreigon on my team was the only one that really felt like it was who should be with it. I know against Colby I had the Fortress Explosion next to Hisui Zora disguised as Bronze. I mean, it seemed it could work out okay, but sharing a dark weakness there, it's not the greatest still. But if you can kind of pair it with a few more mons that really make it dangerous and make people want to attack with fighting or ghost moves into it, I think it can definitely be top tier. And it requires, I think, with the good team, it's going to require a lot of prep each week. Overall, definitely wanted to try something new. Like I said earlier, I like bulkier teams that can deal damage. Last season, I went a little too bulky. This season, I went a complete opposite way and tried to go very much for nice, fast, speedy team that I thought could deal more damage than it really could. Freezes and misses hurt a few games, but I don't think they changed the outcome too much. I know I touched upon that when we were talking through each one. And, of course, shout-outs to some of the olds that took some time to help me to prep each week. I know everybody was dealing with their own matches and stuff, and I know I didn't have as much time to step in and kind of make some comments for everybody, but you always appreciate people helping out and taking time to look at your pace. So Season 11, general draft strategy, I mean, sitting here, I mean, we're ways out. Definitely want to go less wide, find more mons who will come and put pressure. Big key on putting pressure on the other team. So not just finding value across the board, making sure that I have something where everybody can come, but finding those mons who are going to put a lot of pressure on the opponents. Ignore my favorites on the board and avoid reaching. So past 2 or 3 seasons, Tinkaton and Sneasler were 2 of them. And honestly, I probably could have put Gothitelle up here. I know I felt it was very much part of the plan I had going for last season, but it's definitely a reach for first round. So, and of course, evaluate new mons in the format better. I didn't really sit down and take the time to really think through every new mon's value and weakness and everything else, and I think that really hurt me. I got tunnel vision right onto Sneasler and just stuck with it the whole time. Again, not a great season. Hopefully rebound in Season 11. And again, this is just kind of for me to walk through my thoughts a little bit and spend some time, a little more time putting into it so I can kind of get back and bounce back to hopefully have another good season, maybe get back in the playoffs here. So thanks if you guys sat down and watched. I appreciate it. I'm excited to sit down and watch playoffs with everybody, and good luck to everybody who made it, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you.